Hey y'all, I know I haven't done a video in a while. It's just been a little bit harder lately to find the time slash energy to produce the content that I want to produce. If I was like a lazy piece of shit that just like wanted to give you a video every day, and you know it was a video and like I know it would do like moderately well, but like I have like this like standard, not like standards, but like I have like I hold myself accountable to like what I want to produce and how I want to produce it, because at the end of the day, the reason that I created a YouTube channel, even going back to my first YouTube channel, was there was certain things that I wanted to see in Vanguard that I wasn't seeing. So I'm like, well, if no one's doing it the way that I would like to watch it, then let me do it that way. Like that's my general mindset when producing a video. Like if I can't stomach it, what makes you think someone else can? But I'm updating my Greedon list to this is like a very interesting, weird way to play the deck. If you're not aware of it, I don't know if the Dark States community is aware of this version of the deck or not. I haven't seen it being played. I haven't seen it. The standard version of the deck pretty much topped BRO, but in my opinion, this might be the best version of Greedon you can play right now until we get more Desire Devil support in set 6 that makes you want to like just go pure. But getting onto the grade 3. Ooh, most important. My ride line. So instead of Gooman, I'm running Steve, because Steve gets you a soul charge and a free rear guard, versus Gooman gets you a draw, versus that draw might not be exactly what you're looking for. Plus, the booster is really helpful in the early stages of the game because you generally don't play cards until turn 3 to, you know, just to be sucked up by Greedon's effect. So it's just very helpful, especially if you're going second, to be able to swing for like numbers that just can't be, you know, easily no passed, and like forces your opponent to eat damage where like usually they would just guard early or like put a 15 out, and then like your grade 3 turn you're just essentially not doing much, especially if like your opponent didn't put you to high damage. But onto the grade 3s. Obviously we are running 3 copies of Persona Ride. It's very much needed in this deck, especially since you have cards like 4 copies of Dufan that, for his crit ability, require you to have 2 fucking Greedons in Soul. So it's just very important to your strategy to max out on copies of this card. Also, you do have combo lines to whereas you can create 4 to 5 attacks that the person, for those attacks to hit, or like those attacks to hit over a trigger, over 1 defensive trigger, you do require Persona Ride. But for Dufan, it's needed soul charge. Also, it's rear guard pressure that the deck generally didn't have before this support. Onto the grade 2s. I only play 1/2, which is 3 copies of Bokusho. I'm not running any of the other Desire Devil grade 2s because, like I said, this is like a very special list to whereas I'm trying to. It's kind of like how back when Greedon got supported in set 4, that you played 4 Babitsu and you played 4 Muka, and basically if you opened up with like 3 Babitsus, or you opened up with like 2 Babitsus and a Muka, you were able to restand your Vanguard twice. Well, this is kind of like that, but like way better, because you don't have to waste so much soul. But onto the grade 1s. I'm playing 4 Gooman in the main deck. This is just essential in my opinion, because generally, especially in the early stages of the game, like the most amount of attacks you're making are 3 2 attacks at most. So it's just very important that you're able to get the guard restrict on those last 2 or last attack of the turn. This is like your win condition, especially if your opponent draws all their PGs. This is like literally what helps you win games. So it's important you max out on 4 copies. And then we're playing 4 copies of the Owl X Tito, or I'm just going to call him Tito. So we're playing 4 copies of Tito. This is also really good in the deck because the deck did have a I believe I went over this in my my update to Greedon, but it does have a not soul charging problem, but like decking out type of problem. So it's just very helpful that when it is put into soul, you're able to just soul charge from the drop zone instead of soul charging from your deck in a sense. And it also helps with the your key strategy that is able to get you those 4 to 5 attacks in one turn. I think you could get 6 attacks maximum. I'm not sure, but the most I've gotten is like 5. And then the star of the deck, 4 Babitsus. Exito just really makes it, or Tito and Dufon just makes it very easy for you to get your draws off of Babitsu. So you're not calling a card and just basically just negging a card from hand for Babitsu skill. You're actually plussing off of Babitsu, which is very nice. And again, you want to max out on 4 copies of this because this is part of your multi-attack combo that, you know, if you have a couple of these, like if you have at least two of these, you're able to get off a second Vanguard restand. And then for the grade 1 that makes it all possible, we're playing 4 copies of Barney. Now, what Barney does, if you're not aware, because this is like one of those weird those weird Highlander Chaos cards. I don't know, man. Recently, I've been dipping into like Chaos's support cards, and they've been putting in work in like some weird deck builds that I've been doing. Like, shout outs to my my Last Barrel Magnus profile. Go ahead and check that out if you want to. I'm actually using the grade 2 for Chaos in that list, and it just like works out like so smoothly. But we're playing 4 copies of Barney. What Barney essentially does, which works very well with Babitsu, is that when she's placed on rear guard from hand, you CB1. If you have 8 different card names in Soul, Superior Call a grade 1 or less from your Soul to rear guard. And if you have 10 or more different card names in Soul, Superior Call a grade 4 or less from your Soul to rear guard. So this is basically the main bread and butter combo of the deck, to whereas you want to reach obviously 10 soul as fast as possible, which Tito makes very easy, Dufon makes very easy to get your draws off of Babitsu, but you also want to, this is the card you want to call off of Babitsu. You want to call Barney off of Babitsu. So Barney's just able to pull whatever, like most of the time it's whatever, but sometimes like if I can't get a restand off, then I'll just pull out an extra attacker like a Dufon and then swing with the Dufon with a crit. Or like I said, like the combo line is simple. You have 2 of these, you have 2 Babitsus, and I think you only for this type. Yeah, if your goal is to only swing with the Vanguard 3 times, then this is how you do it. You have to have 5 rear guards, you have to have 2 Babitsus, and then when you suck up your 4 rears, you have to call at least 1 Barney. Because that's gonna get you, that's 2, and then that's 3, and then you have the other rear guard that you haven't used yet, that's 4, that gets you your 3 Vanguard swings. But if you have, now this is like a 4 counterblast play, but generally the grade 1s of the deck are the only things using counterblast, and you do have 6 counterblasts available. So most of the time you're able to like readily use your counterblast however you see fit. But basically you could just do 2 of these and then 2 Barneys, which means you could get 3 Vanguard swings and then like 1. You could get 3 Vanguard swings and then like have like 1 Dufon that you've had standing the whole time. You're probably stacking triggers on the Dufon because your Vanguard's just like in the mid to late game, so naturally big by itself. And then you have the Dufon swinging for the 2 crit. But that's like the 4 attack combo. The 5 attack combo that you could do with the deck is where you restand with your Vanguard. You restand with your Vanguard only once. So you're only getting 2 Vanguard swings, and this requires you to commit 5 rear guards to board, obviously. You're going to have 1 rear guard standing. So yeah, that's 2 Vanguard swings. You swing... First, this is how you do it. Like, I'm sorry, like, I'm confusing myself. You gotta swing with the swing with the rear guard first, which is most of the time like a Dufon or something like that. And this is where it could be, this 5 attack combo is where it's key to Persona Ride if you're able to just be able to hit those magic numbers over one defensive trigger. But you'll swing with the Dufon, you'll swing with your Vanguard, like soul charge your 4 standing rear guards, restand your Vanguard. For the 5 attack combo, you only need 1 Barney and then 1 Babitsu, which you could just go Babitsu into Barney. Barney calls out, like, let's say, like, if you have 10 or more different names in Soul, a Dufon. If not, it calls out just like another grade 1, to whereas now you have two standing 18k lanes, which is really good, especially if you have your opponent at like a key number of damage, which is like 4 or 5 damage. And then if you have Gooman, then you just have like the guard restrict on top of that, makes those attacks even harder to guard. So yeah, that's the 5 attack combo. You have to attack the rear guard first, then Vanguard, and then suck everything into soul, and then you use Barney and Babitsu, and then you get 2 more attacks out of it. And technically, you could add more Babitsus to this combo just to make nicer lanes. But it would require like way more cards to restand your Vanguard. Like I said, you need at least 2 to 3 Babitsus to be able to restand your Vanguard twice. But on to the rest of the grade 1s. Sorry for like if it was like a little bit of a tangent, but like I felt like it was very important to take that tangent to explain what I built this deck to do and how you achieve it. Onto the trigger lineup, which is also very important. Because, like I said, and because of Barney requires, like, you have at least 8 different names, ideally 10, so you can call out Dufon. Like, this is where Tito comes in very clutch, to whereas whatever I don't have in Soul, I'll Soul Charge it. I don't have a PG in Soul, Soul Charge it. I don't have this trigger name in Soul, Soul Charge it. I don't have this random name in Soul, Soul Charge it. Like, Tito is, like, just very clutch in the scenarios where I have to ditch, Greedon, or I have to ditch Bokusho, and I'm just able to soul charge them and have them for my next follow-up turn. But onto the triggers. This is where we're really like facilitating 2 play for Barney. I'm playing a 2-2 split of the. I'm just playing a 2-2 split of the regular heal triggers. You could technically play like 1 of each heal. I don't really believe I need the effect heals in this list. Generally, like, I don't know, for newer people, my rule of thumb usually when it comes to the effect heal triggers, just because they don't come up in every matchup, or like it's not like we're not in like a very dominant like format right now to where it's like, yes, like restand is definitely the thing, or like, yes, like gaining crits outside of triggers is definitely the thing, let me run this heal. Generally, I test out the heals in the decks that can afford to run it, which usually have extra higher shield value, which are usually the decks that are able to run front, that are able to get away with to run front triggers, like Gravidia, like if you're playing well, I guess you can call it OTK Brews, OTK Grade 4 Brews. I don't play draws in that build because it's the soul charge variant, so like you would just deck yourself out. So I just play fronts because fronts are so much even more deadly to your strategy. You could play the effect heals in that, but if I'm not able to, which I'm really not in this list because because you're not so much worried about decking out because of Tito, I'm running draw triggers. I'm running 3 draw triggers, but that's my whole reasoning on the effect heals. Like, again, I'm sorry for rambling, but I felt like it needed to be said. And then I'm doing a 2-2 split on the vanilla crits. Not much to say there. And then for the staple 4 ofs, well, not really like staple, but like not really a need to have, but a nice to have if the occasion so does arise. We're playing 4 of the Into Soul crit, 3 of the effect draw, and then 1 Dark States OT. This deck is like, ooh, it's not even in the view of the camera. Let me just put it right there. 1 Dark States OT. This is like one of the decks to where it's like, every Dark States deck, if you flip the Dark States OT, like in the, like, at least by turn 3, like you're just in trouble because generally almost every Dark States deck is naturally aggressive to where is the point like, if you check the OT, you just have that 10k and a crit for the rest of the game. It just it turns a probable situation to an impossible situation, like especially in Greedon. Like for me personally, whenever like the D-SS02 gets checked against me and like Paul is playing Greedon, it automatically turns Greedon from like a tier 3 deck into like a tier 1 deck. But that's it for my Greedon deck profile. Really, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. This is, I don't know if this is like the best version of the deck, but you know me, we always like to do it different around here. And I just thought this was like really interesting and cool. Like there's so many like small, intricate, interesting and cool things that you can do in Dark States that most like in like every nation that most people don't take account of because they either don't pay that much attention to Standard or, you know, they just bandwagon like what's the meta. This is the meta, okay, this is the list. You know, this is the exact Gravidia list. This is the exact Magnolia list. I mean, not anymore because of Inlet Pulse. But, yeah, I am going to be posting more content up in the future. So, watch out for that. Later.